Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interviewed Dr. Eleonore. Dr. Eleonore is a veterinary conservationist, entrepreneur, author, plant-based chef, sailor and keen traveller. Her passion is the conservation and health of our planet, which includes humans, animals and the environment. She helps this by eating and promoting a plant-based lifestyle, as well as promoting and helping in conservation projects around the globe. She's really inspiring. I know you're going to love this interview and I can't wait for you to hear it. So great, Eleanor. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
One thing that I don't know, whereabouts are you based in the world? Where are you?
That's a good question. Do I really have a base? Not really. Let's say that my family lives in southern Spain, Malaga, and that's where I am at right now.
Right. Okay.
I'll say it that way. Tricky with.
So have you been? You've been traveling around different places in Europe or different places globally?
Everywhere. Actually, Europe, I should come back to my roots because I've been traveling more like Maldives, Bora Bora, Costa Rica, so very far away, but have to come back to Europe. There's amazing places in Europe as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that you're going to share with us your inspiring story, and it's great to have you on the show. And I know, obviously, at the moment, you're a consultant and you do all the vet conservationist stuff and health stuff. So it's going to be great to hear how this all came about, really, how it all kind of started for you. But I don't know if you know much about me. I'm an e-commerce expert. I focus mainly a lot on helping people grow businesses online through platforms like Amazon and Etsy and their own stores selling physical and digital products. But I went through a really difficult time, and I think by sharing our stories, we can really help other people, because I think sometimes in this now digital economy that we've got, all the time we're seeing all these perfect lives on Facebook, as I call Facebook, or,
Absolutely.
the pajama family, as I call it as well. But we're always like looking at, all of this stuff, and a lot of the time it's not real, and a lot of people that I've I think everybody has been through a difficult period in their life. Some more than others. So some could have a more traumatic story than others, but everybody's got a story. And I know when you're in a social environment, you meet someone, it's always like, what do you do? We identify people by being a doctor or a cleaner or a teacher or whatever they do. When actually, if we ask them, what is your story? We'd find out a lot more about them. But it sounds a bit cheesy, wouldn't it, if you met someone, what's your story? But if we get that part of it out, we really get to know people better. And I went through a difficult time in 2015 when I left a really abusive marriage. And I have my 3 pillars that I talk about on this podcast. And it's freedom in love, which is about self-care, the love that we give out to the world as well, but it's more about that self-love, self-care piece. Because when I wasn't looking after myself and I was a single parent, with 2 boys, I was sort of neglecting myself, give to everybody around me. But the seesaw balance was up, and I needed to spend more time on me. So that's one pillar. The other pillar is freedom in money, because I don't care what anyone says, it's not about earning 7 figures in 30 days, but actually financial freedom gives you the ability to live your lifestyle how you truly want to do it. And when I struggled financially, again, the seesaw balance was up and down. And then the last one is freedom in mind, because I think your mindset encompasses everything, and it's bigger than the word mind. I'm not keen on the word mindset, to be honest. It's holistic in that approach, really. But also it's not about, for me, being positive every single minute of every single day. It's just whatever life throws at us, being able to kind of, you know, digest that, maybe, you know, release that energy of upset or trauma or whatever, being able to kind of unpack it and be able to have like a toolbox of things that you'd be able to get through that and get through to the other side. That for me is what mindset has been able to do for me. So those are my three pillars.
Yeah.
Love, money, and mind, that I talk about a lot. And I'm sure, hearing a little bit about you before we click record, I'm sure you'll be able to relate to some of those on your journey, with everything that you've kind of been through and your story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree on everything that you say. I think even I look up to people like you, women like you, because I don't have kids, and it was very hard for me. I cannot even imagine what it is to, on top of that, have little ones that are totally reliant on you, you know. So that makes even an extra big effort and worry, which I never had, and I cannot imagine. So I really look up to you guys. It's amazing.
It's funny when you're in the middle of it. What's funny is that your children actually teach you a lot, because like sometimes, like, you know, like how they. I was saying to my son recently, it's very black and white with things. Do you know what I mean? Whereas sometimes an adult, we sort of like, we don't want to offend someone or da. And I've grown through my journey to be like, I've got to say no more to people and not be yes, not be a people pleaser. Whereas children can be quite blunt and be like, no, I don't want that, whatever. And we can actually learn these things from them.
Absolutely.
Which is quite
absolutely.
I feel like I've learned a lot from my kids on this journey.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we do underestimate them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So come and tell us how you, because I know you do some really, really good stuff now. How did it all start? Because I know you originally were a vet, weren't you? That's how it sort of started.
Yeah, I mean, I will die a vet. Let's put it that way. I'm still a vet. I'm just made it in a way that I'm actually happy to be a vet and not wanting to kill myself like I did many years ago. I'm also part, you probably know about Not One More Vet. You have the group on Facebook, and it's been going on, and finally somebody decided to create a group like that, because I can only talk about my profession, but it's one of the highest in suicidal rates.
Right. Okay.
Because it does not compensate the amount of not only time investment, but money investment. There's people that have to get loans, they have to study, they have to work at the same time that they're actually, you know, combining everything. It is a very hard study. It was for me, definitely. It was not easy. And then to have, I'm not going to say all clients are bad. I had amazing clients as well. But unfortunately, we tend to, from those, say, 30 clients you had that day, there's just that one that said something nasty and that will destroy your entire day. Yeah. Because we're so involved in taking care of the animals, and we love the animals, and we do it because of that. And we tend to forget the same thing you say. We tend to think about ourselves, our own health, because we're dealing with these animals that need 100% attention from us, and it's our responsibility. Sometimes it's a question of, you know, being alive, or we save them or they die. So it's a big responsibility. And then you have the client just negotiating or insulting you. You're a bad vet because of 10 euros or 10 pounds that you're charging extra or whatever, for silly things. At the end, it's really silly, but some people can be so damaging. It's amazing. And so anyway, talking too much about this. So I wanted to be a vet since I was 6 years old. I had my own clinic, and that happened to me. Basically, I was so burned out. I wanted to, at some point, commit suicide. I had all the tools, obviously. I had all the drugs in the world in my clinic to do that. I was literally preparing how I was going to do it. With my morphine, I was trying to calculate the dose. I had a friend who's an anesthesiologist, and I was asking him. Obviously, I was not asking him why. Otherwise, he would have never told me. But I was like, oh, curiosity. What's the dose that you need, for a patient that's in his last moments to morphine-wise? How much would you? And it was basically for me. So luckily there's an angel somewhere that grabbed me from this huge hole.
Before you move on and get to that, just, I have a lot of people who follow the podcast, and a lot, everybody. The reason I want to do this podcast is because obviously I can only share my story, but sharing everybody else's story, then someone who's listening, somebody, and there's usually some synergy anyway. But for someone who could be listening to this, who may even work with animals, so relate with that part, or just maybe completely burnt out and being at that point that you were. Any advice, or was there anything that was the tipping point, like to tip you towards that? Or also, I know you're coming on to the fact that the guardian angel, but what, if you think back to, not, I don't want to put you into thinking back then, but just thinking of someone else listening to this, like any words of wisdom or any tips that you could give them at that point in time when you were doing?
I mean, wisdom, no, because I have no wisdom. I'm not better than anybody else, but speak up, talk, seek help, 100%.
And what was it you did? What was that turning point when you like you say,
I got really scared. There was one point, lucid moment, that I got really scared of my own thoughts. And for some reason, this is why there was like an angel somewhere. For some reason, I opted to talk to someone. And it was a friend, and she was going to a psychologist for her own reasons. And then she advised, go to this psychologist. And that's what I did. And that saved me. And I actually talk about her in my book, because she's been my angel. The number 2 angel. The first one was someone in my brain saying, seek help. Don't do it. Just talk to someone. So I did. So it's if you are alone, which depression tends to bring you alone, and bring you alone, tends to, you don't want to come out, you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to bother anyone, and that's the worst thing you can do. Seek out. There's always someone that wants to listen. There's always someone out there that is willing to give you a hand and the support. Just listening.
Because it can be, sometimes we're all different, aren't we? Sometimes it could be someone really close to you. Sometimes it could be someone that's not really close to you, because you don't want them to have any complete ideas and stuff. I know I had talking therapy for 2 years. I've done loads of other things as well, like in my healing journey. But that was like early on, the talking therapy. And what's funny is I actually interviewed my therapist on this podcast, because we kind of developed this relationship. But towards the end, she actually said, I don't think we need to speak anymore, because we were just literally sharing books and sharing. It was just more of like a catch up every time I spoke to her. But, I think it is really, I think you're right. I think, yes, when you're going through it, you don't want to bother anyone, and it's easier just to shut your doors away from, go inwards, isn't it? And I know I did that. And sometimes I would like drop the boys off at school and just come home and go to bed and just put the duvet over my head and set my alarm to make sure that I went out to pick them up from school, and just wasn't productive. So I can totally relate to that. I think it's so important to speak to someone. So it's great. You obviously spoke to your friend, you had this psychologist, and that helped you then. So what did you do after that? Like, did you think, right, I need to stop being a vet, or I need to get out of this kind of job and world, or?
Well, I decided to sell my clinic, and I was really lucky. I managed to sell it, and then I did lower the price a lot. So I was making sure that I would sell it. At that point, money wasn't an issue. It was my own life. So I really I know I was going to lose money, but at that point, that was not important. So with the psychologist, she said, first thing, out, gone, clinic, away. And you have to take care of yourself. And with the little money that I had left from the clinic, I went away, I went traveling, and I did something completely different, which is I went to Germany. I wanted to improve my German, and I was a barista. I I wanted nothing to do with vet medicine. So I was basically making and serving coffees, and I was actually very happy. No responsibility,
Like
very
the
easy.
people interaction, the social part of it, and all that.
People interaction, and I was great at it. I mean, they even offered me a permanent job, and they said, we know you're a vet, and I know that this is, but you are so great, because I also speak many languages. So this was in Munich, and obviously you've got Italians, you've got the French, you've got Dutch, you've got all kinds of nationalities. So I was talking to, one was in French, like, oh, tu veux ton café? And then the Italian came. So obviously I was like, you wouldn't think that a few months before I wanted to kill myself. So, and that helped. So it was all obviously because of the psychologist telling me, okay, let's do this. Let's, totally random, like maybe vet medicine, maybe it's not for me. Maybe, obviously I didn't stay as a barista for that long, but it did me very good, because I was actually being happy again and being good at something.
It took you
because
out,
I felt like I was,
it took you out of that sort of box and of like where you were, and just gave you a break really from it all.
Yes, absolutely. Because since I had reason, so at 6, I was totally obsessed of becoming a vet. And I was not good at maths, I was not good at chemistry, but I was so into have to be a vet, up to an obsession. It was really hard. And I managed. And then after all that trouble and all the massive depressions of trying to study hard and blah, blah, and then I get to this clinic where it's a nightmare, where I'm not making an income, like all for nothing, it's like, oh my God, what a disappointment. This is horrible, and I couldn't talk to anyone. My family, nobody in my family does anything related to, not vet medicine. My uncle was a doctor. He's, how do you say in English? He's still alive. I'm saying was, because he's older now. So he's retired. Sorry, I couldn't come up with a word. But with animals, it's weird. And I'm talking also, this was in the middle of the crisis, economical crisis in Spain. So it all added up. Then I choose a very bad location for my practice. So it was really hidden. So obviously I was an amateur at everything. I know about vet medicine. I don't know about marketing. I don't know about location. I didn't know anything. I was very impulsive. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to open up and it should work. Well, no, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So, went traveling.
So when you did that, when did you travel across Europe after Germany, or?
Yeah, I did Germany. Then I went to visit a friend in New York. Then what did I do? Then I had another job offer. Marine mammals was something I wanted to do way in the beginning of my career, but I didn't want to do captivity, because obviously I'm against captivity. And this was a whale watching company. And because I knew about marine mammals and I knew about languages, I became a tour guide in this whale watching company. I loved the ocean. So that was great. That was a seasonal thing. So that was the next thing I did.
Yeah. It sounds like you went off to do things that were like quite fun for you, like with the barista, whales, what
vacation feeling, not much brain effort, because making coffees, it doesn't take, with all due respect for all the baristas out there, to make a nice heart and everything, it does take a bit of practice, but you know what I mean. If you compare it with vet medicine, it's like a walk to the park. And then the whale watching, it was 8 hours on the boat looking out for whales and dolphins and just talking about it on the microphone. Come on, that's vacation for me. And I was getting paid for that. Not huge amount of money, the same with the barista, but again, I didn't care for the money, that something at least to sustain myself. And I was just enjoying being alive for once, and actually seeing that I'm actually good at something. But because as a vet, I really, at the end, I thought, can I swear on the podcast?
Yeah.
Can I say I was a shitty vet? I really felt like I was a shitty vet. Like, oh my God, I'm terrible at this. so it's gaining my confidence back. Like, okay, I'm not a total loser. I'm good at something. And then little by little, I started missing again the medicine part, the curing animals, because deep inside, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to save animals. This is my love for nature and the animals. So I slowly went back in, and I went to London and started there again, and did a bit of locum work. And it was good. It was good money. I was okay with being a vet again. I wasn't scared. But again, I didn't want to do it full time because I was afraid that I was going to go back to my hole, to put it that way. And on a vacation, I was going to go alone. I had a partner back then, but he kind of stood me up for the third time to go on vacation. And I said, okay, enough. I'm not counting on him. I'm like, where do I go alone? And then I thought, well, South Africa, it's years I wanted to go to South Africa. And there was this vet experience. And I'm like, this is it. Yeah. And so I went. And that was my first real experience with conservation. And I totally fell in love with it. I'm like, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And that's when it all started. That's when I little by little started making my route and keep on doing the locum work because it was good money, and then I would work hard for 1 month and then save money, and with that money I would go to all these conservation projects and take part of them.
Nice.
And yeah, and then cooking as well, wanted to come into the cooking again, so I kind of mixed both, and I saw
cooking's quite creative as well, isn't it? Like if you've been through a bit of a difficult time, cooking, because I always say, like, you kind of cook with love, or you can cook, like, sometimes I get bored when I'm just cooking, like, for the sake of eating for something for the boys.
Yeah.
You just like, oh, what shall I make? You know, like, you more creative head. I really enjoy it, you know, and so it's quite real creative side, I think.
Yeah. Oh, in the meantime as well, I forgot, that's when I applied for MasterChef, the 3rd edition of MasterChef here in Spain, and I got in. Yeah. So I didn't last long. It was just one season, not one season, because that would be 6 months, but I was 1 month there, then I was thrown out. But it doesn't matter, I managed to get in.
Exactly. Well done for getting on that. That's really good. Massive
it was an experience. It was, yeah, I mean, you do go through like 5 or 6 tests I had to do, go to Madrid to where the TV, the national TV. It was an exciting experience. But yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe not a professional chef, because obviously I wasn't good for that. I mean, not that master chef. In the beginning, especially, at the end, they will obviously look up that you are becoming a professional chef. But in the beginning, it's really a show. If you make up a show, or you have, you got to have a special character to be, it's a show. They want to attract public. So you got to be special. I was too serious about my cooking, and they don't like that. It's a show. So I wasn't fun. I was too serious with my cooking.
Entertainment. So
yeah, I wasn't an entertainer at all.
So explain to everybody listening, what is it you're doing now? Because you then brought all of this together, didn't you?
Yes. So I managed to get everything together. I guess the pandemic, I'm not going to say it was a good thing, but I think for a lot of people it did bring a lot of creativity, because we had no choice. And it kind of enhanced the importance of health in general, and to be more respectful with nature. And this helped me to kind of put everything together. So because I saw how important it is to actually, I'm plant-based or vegan, and you see with the pandemic, and more people are realizing how important it is what you eat, your choices, with what's going to happen around you as well.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is great, because I'm already doing the conservation project. So I have an online platform where I offer conservation projects for volunteers to join. Every project that I offer, I have been myself, because I want to make sure that what I'm offering is ethical with the animals, and animal welfare and everything. And also because I can obviously create awareness or talk about it better, because I've done it myself. And so that would be one of the things that I do. And then on the other hand, I've got my plant-based program. So what I'm trying to achieve is to get more people to eat more plant-based. And I'd rather say plant-based, not vegan, because I don't want to say all or nothing. It's not black or white. You know, you can transition into it slowly. You can reduce. Any change that you make is going to benefit not only your health but the planet as well. So it's related to conservation, and I think we all know this for sure now, that, you know, the meat industry, the dairy industry, not only it concerns not only animal welfare, so how animals are being treated, but what's in the meat that you're eating, the massive land destruction that is creating, pollution, the methane, climate change. I can go on for hours, so stop me. And so I think it's the perfect combination. I love the cooking. I'm plant-based for 12 years now. In the meantime as well, I've been chefing on yachts, on luxury yachts. So I have learned how to cook very efficiently and very fast, because you have no choice. You just have to, so you learn.
Do you ever help out on like retreats and things like that?
I've done a few, yes.
Yeah.
I've done a few. I've done them,
I'm planning a retreat, and like listening to you, like I still eat meat, but it's mainly fish.
Yeah.
But I can sometimes go for like a couple of weeks not eating any meat. I really enjoy plant-based food. I really like it, and I do juicing, and I just like plant-based food, you know. And of course, I have, you know, seen, like you were saying, about what they put in meat, and, you know, just the whole, like you say, the cruelty, just everything holistically. Sounds like you've found where you need to be, haven't you, from the journey that you've been on with everything?
I have. Because I've got like all the bits and pieces. So as a vet, and during my student years, I had to go to slaughterhouses and do obviously practical work. And I've been analyzing the milk, the meat, everything. And I'm talking a very long time ago. I'm 48 right now. But obviously, and now I'm doing a master's degree on food safety. So I'm reliving everything, and you have no idea what's in your meat sources, and it's scary. It is very scary. So that, together with the food safety that I'm doing, with the culinary training a bit, I did get some in the Master Chef. They, you know, we were getting every week from the Michelin stars chefs, we were getting culinary training. And then obviously working on yachts, you have to speed up and learn, and plating is very important. So I've got kind of all the bits and pieces. And this is why I created this plant-based program, because I've got everything that you need for plant-based cooking in an easy way, fast way, tasty way. And I can tell you why you should reduce your meat, because I've lived it, I've analyzed it, why you have to reduce your fish, why you have to, you know, so I've got all the arguments possible for you to go plant-based. So there's no objections with me. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to argue with everything that you say, because I've done it. I've done the work.
So tell us about the program, because a few people listening might be interested in hearing about it and know more, you know how to get more.
So I'm launching it this week, if everything goes well as planned, because Facebook ads and all this, I'm still learning, so it's a bit of a nightmare, but anyway, got to do it. So it's a program, it's a 30-day program. It's all recorded videos and some PDFs and resources. It's lifelong access, obviously, but it is meant for people to be able to do it in 30 days, because we're now in a speedy mode and we want everything quick. So everything can be done and achieved. You can become plant-based in 30 days. You have full support from me by email. This is if you take the recorded program. I do one-on-one sessions as well. And then I give you 60 days extra of email support, just to make sure that, you know, if you don't achieve it in 30 days, I am providing you 60 more days to help you out. And you've got all the tools that you need. Talking about mindset, by the way, one of the first things that we have to start is by changing how we relate with food and how we think, because most people don't think when they're eating like, well, I'm meat because we always had meat. But the thing is, and they go like, oh, our grandparents had milk and nothing happened. You cannot compare the dairy industry 50 years ago than what you're getting now. The products are not the same, you know.
Yeah.
So, and this is very important, to be more conscious of what you're eating and what you're putting in your body, basically, because you think you're eating healthy and you're actually not. And not because of the protein itself, it's the extra that goes with. So, and then the mindset. So, oh, well, no, but I'm eating pretty healthy, and I'm asking people, so, okay. And then they tell me what they're eating. And I'm like, well, not really. And then they shocked, like, what do you mean? But well, that's full of saturated fats. That's trans fats. That is, I can go on and on and on. And people are not, they don't realize, they're not really conscious about this. So that's the number one key.
Imagine there is a lot of conscious stuff that it's like subconscious reprogramming that you've got to go through, isn't it? Because of your history, maybe the way you've been brought up, or just the influences of habits and things like that. So it's a 30-day program from start to being completely plant-based. And how do people, if people listen to this and thinking, oh my god, I want to, this lady's amazing and I want details of it, what is the best way for them to like book on that or get a bit more detail of the details of it?
Well, I do have a website, and there obviously there's the information, and then you can click the button where you can.
What we'll do then is, for everybody that's listening to this that really wants to learn more about being plant-based and would love to get their hands on Eleanor's program to do it in 30 days, we will put the links in the show comments. And we'll also put Eleanor's links on her, for Facebook or Instagram or whatever social she has as well. So people can directly reach out. So if you're watching us on YouTube, hello, you'll be able to see in the comments section all of Eleanor's details about the plant-based program, her website, etc. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, if you go to the show notes, you'll be able to see everything in there as well. So that sounds really exciting. I love that. I love listening to education and stuff on plant-based stuff. My thing is probably I have got habits, I'm definitely there with the fact that it's a lot more healthy. And I can imagine, I did microbiology at uni. So
good. Interesting. That will come handy now with a pandemic.
Exactly. And I did actually work for Pfizer for many years. It turned me the other way. It turned me at this holistic way of doing medicine for me and the boys. So probably like you, I've been on a bit of a journey. And my first products that I did on Amazon were supplements. So I really like like nootropics and things like that. With the nutrients that we need and things. But I think you can get a lot of that through food, and that we should be focusing more on that, really.
And I think, like I said, the pandemic kind of enlightened this, we're just going around running around like headless chickens, because we're in a speedy society, and we don't stop and actually wait, what am I doing? What's the purpose? Why am I doing this? And we should really go down a bit, and a bit more mindfulness, a bit more realizing the now, the present. We're forgetting, and it's not our fault. I mean, everything in social media, yes, it has obviously very positive things, but it has also very negative things. As you mentioned this before, they put this idyllic lives, and we see these idyllic, and we think that that's you know, that's normal when you have no idea what's behind it. You know,
Yeah.
I also have comments from acquaintances like, wow, you are living the dream life, and like, well, you have no idea it takes, oh, and you're rich, because I'm like, well, actually no, to be able to afford this, I've been working my butt off, you know, saving money, because nobody's paying for these things. I am doing my own conservation work, so basically that's my own charity that I'm doing. I am paying these projects myself from my pocket. Nobody is paying for any of that, just myself. So it is important for people to realize that, you know, like you say, it's a bit fake. I'm not saying everything is fake, but that there's tons of work behind it.
Yeah.
Tons.
Exactly.
Obviously, you're not going to show it. You're not going to show your depression on Facebook or on social media. You're not going to show, because nobody wants to see that. You know, nobody's interested. Unfortunately, nobody's interested. But at the end of the day, we all want to feel connected. And unfortunately, the way we feel connected is knowing that we're all humans and that we all struggle the same way.
And that's
what's missing on social media. Nobody's sharing those struggles.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I've interviewed in this podcast, you know, like there's been so many different stories. Like I say, everybody's got a story, even if it's just a, like, well, not just as though it's nothing, but even if it's like a business story where you haven't gone through anything personal, that's a personal challenge. But everybody's got everybody's got a story to tell, and nobody's life has been perfect. And it's usually the people that, from my experience, the people that I've met who are entrepreneurial or are doing something for themselves in their life and not doing the normal sort of 9-to-5 type of job, that have been through quite a bit, because they maybe have had a health condition themselves, or something to do with, you know, mental health, or you know, bereavement, or they've got sick themselves. There's been like that wake up call moment, where they have, you know, got really grounded. It's like now I do this routine where I have a bath every night. I have like magnesium salt baths, and if I have an evening where I don't, I'm like, I feel like I've cheated myself or I've missed out, you know. It's like I have a quick shower and then go to bed. I feel like, oh, I've missed my bath. I feel like I really miss it. And the reason I got into this habit was because I wasn't sleeping with all the trauma that I went through, and it was someone had recommended it, like my little wind down meditation thing. But now it's a treat. I have all these different salts lined up that I want to try. You know, and like I say, if I don't have one, I feel like I've missed out of it, because I've really got into that habit. So I think it's good to get into these habits of things, but probably, this is my point. I only got through those habits because something bad happened. So you know, you probably do. You probably look back and think, well, I'm quite grateful. You know, like, I'm glad that happened. Okay, I wish I hadn't been strangled in an abusive marriage, but I am glad it happened, because I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't be helping.
Absolutely.
I definitely would have done this podcast if that hadn't happened. And I have met some amazing people on the podcast. And
absolutely.
It just like, it makes you realise as well that most people have had something that they've gone through, but we perceive that actually this world's perfect. And that's probably the conditioning and the social and this and that and marketing that has done that. But it's just, nothing that we see hasn't been done by some kind of graft or hard work or trauma behind it. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got to work, or you've got to get to that point, and things come out of that. From it doesn't just manifest magically, you know.
No. And I mean, because also this is the comment that I get, like, oh well, you're really lucky, and I'm like, well, I take it with a pinch of salt. They don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm not saying that
it's not been luck. It's not been luck.
Ingredient of luck.
Yeah.
It's basically finding, when you get that, say, situation, that luck, you need to be able to recognize it and act upon it. And that's what people don't see. Everybody's lucky. I think the universe works for us, not against us.
Yeah.
We just have to see the green lights, and we have to, this is what I mean with being more conscious and more open. Yeah, because I think everybody is lucky if they're able to see it. It's to grab the opportunity. Opportunities are there every day, every moment. You need to be able to see it, to grab it and act upon it. And that's where I see, maybe I'm lucky because I'm able to see it and to grab it and to take action, but not as I'm more lucky than you. I'm just seeing it more because I've practiced it. And I'm like, oh, there's an opportunity there. I'm going for it. Even if I fail, because what makes an entrepreneur, and you know this, is how many failures you had. The more you have, the bigger success you will have.
We this guy that used to do a lot of sort of like, we used to buddy up and help each other online. We always used to call it fail forward. I think someone else came up with that term actually. But it's you
good one.
Fail forward because you make mistakes and you move forward from it. And I think not scared to kind of make those mistakes, as long as you don't keep making the same mistake over and over again.
Then obviously there's got to question yourself a bit, like, okay, you need to learn from your mistakes. That's first of all, but it's okay. Some people learn after one mistake, some people learn after 5 mistakes, as long as you survive them and then continue. Some mistakes might be a bit so
well, it's been I was going to say, it's been great having you on. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up? Because I always ask everybody the same question. I'm going to ask it to you. But just before I do that, was there anything else you wanted to share to everybody?
Yes, because obviously I had so many things. The depression and plant-based food actually also had a connection. So I actually become vegan in 2011, which is the same period I wanted to kill myself. And why I say this is because there is, and we know this already, there's a massive connection with your mood and how you feel with what you're eating. I had very, very bad health issues that also contributed to being very depressed. And once I changed my food habits and my food intake and started eating healthier, also my brain was feeling more happier, I think. So it's also, I do believe that depression has food has a big intake, or how do you say, impact on your mental state. So I think this is another thing that we have to,
awareness around, if you notice that your mood's changing as you change, your diet and stuff. I remember I did like a detox thing, and like I had awful headaches. I came out in like a prickly skin rash. Obviously, it was all the toxins, and I was like really fed up, But because I was aware that I could kind of go cold turkey from all the horrible foods to literally, I should have done it more gradually. I was just like, no, I'm doing this. I kind of knew it was, and I managed to be able to talk my way through the fact that I knew that I could get through this. Do you know what I mean? I just needed to persist with it. But it's a good point. It's a good point that you make. It's been great having you on the show. I'm going to check out your plant-based stuff as well, because, like I say, I'm like in and out. I'm probably like, every time I do like something where like I do a detox or I read about something and try it, then certain habits stick. Like I used to have a lot of caffeine, and now I'm like, I love my mint tea, my peppermint tea. If anyone took my peppermint tea away, I'd be gutted now. Whereas it used to be coffee. And so some things have stuck, but then some bad stuff comes in, So it'd be good to go
but it's
definitely go and check.
So this is why I provide the support, because it is very difficult to do it on your own. It's like going to the gym without a personal trainer. You want to achieve these goals of maybe have, a shredded body. Well, you're not going to do it on your own. Even if social media has all the information, you need a strategy. You need someone, also an accountability partner, basically, which is what what I am doing, because I've done all the mistakes possible on plant-based foods. I've done them all. I became anemic, everything, because I was doing it, in 2011. All the resources we have now, we don't, they weren't there.
Yeah.
So I know what not to do, and I know what to do now.
Yeah.
So you have my back 100%. I will. And when you want to quit, I'm not going to let you. I'm here. So
thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for that.
basically, it's important that you have someone you can count on and support that knows exactly what you're going through, because I've had all the issues in the world. I had them.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I definitely go and check out your stuff. And for anyone else that feels inspired by Eleanore to, maybe make some changes and look at a plant-based diet, then I'd have a look at the links in the show note comments, or the comment section, wherever you're watching or listening, and reach out to Eleanore as well, maybe, and ask her a few questions. But it's been great to connect with you and get you on the show.
Yes, it's been great. Thank you.
I always ask this question, because it's the Freedom Pod. We call it the Freedom Podcast. I always ask everybody this question, and it's like there's no right or wrong answer. And if somebody asked this question 10 years ago, I would have answered it differently than I do now, because I think we evolve. So, Eleanore, what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom. Oh, it's a tough one, that one. Actually, no, it's very simple. It's actually live with purpose.
Yeah.
That's and being able to live with that purpose and live from it, obviously. But yeah, live with purpose. Have a meaning of why we all are here for a reason. Just you have to know what's your reason to be here.
And also,
and just go full in.
Find that purpose sometimes. You can go
Sorry?
on. You can sometimes go on a whole journey to work out what your purpose is.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm 48, and now I'm finally, putting it all together. But it took me many years of trying and working hard, and some people will know it before. That's fine. But yeah, just be true to yourself and have a purpose bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's brilliant. That's a great answer. So thanks ever so much for coming on the show and sharing all this.
Thank you.
Being vulnerable and sharing your story as well. And it's great.
Hope it inspired and helped people, because that's the main reason why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
To connect, help.
Yeah, well, I will. So brilliant. Thanks ever so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey.